Hey everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group here in Victoria, BC. I'm with Remax Kamloops, and today we're going to be doing our cross-country market update. So we have 6 guests and potentially one more coming from Edmonton, Alberta. Let's just go around the circle and talk about where you're from and your market specialty. So Cheryl.
I'm from Greater Toronto area, and I guess my specialty.
Residential?
It is residential, yes. And maybe a lot of it, because I've been 32 years, a lot of it's past client referrals and of course relocation from some of my corporate connections. So I guess that's pretty well it.
Okay, Jeff.
Hi again, everyone. It's Jeff Parlee from Remax Real Estate Services. I represent Vancouver and the Lower Mainland, and I specialize mainly in residential sales. I do some commercial, but mainly residential, single-family homes, condos, townhomes, and I've been doing that for about 19 years now.
Okay, Laura June. Hi,
good morning. I'm Laura June, coming to you live from the Fraser Valley in beautiful British Columbia, where it is sunny this second. Talk to me in 10 minutes. We might be having a tornado roll through, but for this moment, it's a beautiful morning here in Langley, BC. I'm with the Remax Little Oak in Surrey, British Columbia, and I specialize in residential real estate. I've been doing this now over 18 years.
My doorbell just rang, so I have to go get it. John, go ahead.
Well, I've been in real estate for 46 years, 41 years with Remax. I was one of the original brokers in Ontario, so I've been around a long time. I basically sell life in a beer commercial because I sell summer homes, second homes, islands, cottages. I mean, that's really what I've always done. And of course, we are going to turn the lights off pretty soon as it starts to snow. That's not totally true, but anyway, we don't sell too many cottages in the winter months, unless sometimes we feel like getting out on a snowmobile or something, we can do it. But it's our market is really about 10 months, 10 and a half months.
That's awesome. So you get a break in between.
Well, we do. The trouble is, you know, the market's so crazy, we're making tons of money and no place to go. And I think everybody's got the same problem.
That would be a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah. Well, in our office, I mean, we've enormously successful. I mean, we're about 46% market share, you know, and the agents haven't been able to go anywhere. So the parking lot is filling with Lexuses. I think we've got 4 BMWs, we've got Teslas. They're just spending money on cars because they can't go anywhere.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk about John.
Hi there, I'm John Sheehan from Remax Ocean Pacific in the beautiful Comox Valley on Vancouver Island. Yeah, like Laura June, it is sunny here for now. Rain expected later, but hey, we're on Vancouver Island, so every day is awesome. I've been with Remax Ocean Pacific for 5 years, and my specialty is residential. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Ken.
Ken McClelland Kamloops BC. It's sunny here, and it's going to be sunny all day by the looks of things, and it's about 10 or 11 degrees, so it's great. Haven't seen any snow yet in the valley bottom, so pretty nice. Been with Remax about 21 years, and in the business 35 coming this spring, so 34 plus. And my specialty is all aspects of residential, but I also do my share of a little bit of commercial and a fair amount of recreational waterfront type property as well, rural stuff. So if you've got anybody that's looking for a cottage in the Kamloops area, they like to fish or whatever, there's all kinds of various lakes here with various activities. Not all of them are good fishing lakes. Not all of them are good water ski lakes. So various, need to know what you're doing. But yeah, that's me. Been around a while, really enjoy it still, and life's good.
Okay, awesome. And Cheryl.
Hi. It's Cheryl. I'm from Quinte West area, so the CFB Trenton out that way, Bay Quinte. Been with Remax here for 16 years now, and our market, I think, is just like everybody's else. There's there is no inventory, so our prices are through the roof and our first-time buyers are struggling.
Okay, well, we're going to get to that. Let's figure out how we want to deal with that. First of all, tell us, has this been a good year or bad year in real estate in your city? Laura June, why don't you start?
Oh, well, I guess it depends on perspective. It was if you were a seller in this market 1 year ago, actually, and it was just before Remembrance Day, we had a meeting. I remember that. And I was talking about how the average price in Surrey was just kind of went over that $1.1 million mark. It hit that. And I thought, wow, that was really wild. That same property today would cost you over $1.5 million. So if you were a seller in this market, you did very well. Many of the sellers have actually picked up and moved. So I might have to head out of here too once all my clients sell their properties and leave. I don't know where I'm headed to, but that is a thing that's going on. If you were a buyer, unless you're very aggressive in this market, it was a tough year for you. And as far as realtors go, if you work with a lot of buyers, you had a tough year this year. If you do more listings, it was a good year.
There's a meme going around with a picture of a lady who looks really tired. It's a Barbie, very tired. That's a buyer agent. And then the Barbie who's the listing agent who's like, yeah.
Totally. And that's it. That's life in the Lower Mainland, Fraser Valley right now. So
interestingly, I just went through all the expired listings to check for a client if I could find a property that hasn't sold in the past 2 years. And I saw a lot of them had been listed 2 years ago, up to 2 years ago, at one price, and then they were relisted this year and sold $100,000 more. So it is scary. Jeff, what's it like for you in Vancouver?
It's very similar, I think, to what you guys are all experiencing. I mean, as far as this year has been bonkers for myself. I've been extremely busy. I've only had 6 days off this entire year. Having said that, the last couple of weeks it died off a little bit, and I'm so thankful for that, to be able to actually catch up on a few things. Finally take a breath. Yeah, the market right now, the fact that we are so light in inventory, as you say, great to be a seller. You know, you take the driver's seat at that point in time, you get whatever you want, dates, conditions, you name it. The problem is buying that next property. And, you know, depending on what segment you're looking at, single family homes and townhomes are definitely still the hot button. There's a lot of, we'll say, entry-level condos that are sort of sitting on the market, but the special condos or anything with any outdoor space, those are the ones that get in the lineup, so to speak. You know, there's going to be 8-10 offers that are coming in on that property. So that's pretty much where we are right now and have been all year. You know, is it going to stay that way? Probably. I know the interest rates are talking about hiking up a little bit. Is that going to really rattle the market? I don't think that much. There's just too many buyers that are out there and not enough inventory.
So John and Cheryl, you guys and I all deal with military transfers normally. So they're a significant part of our market in the spring, I find, with all the transfers coming in and out. I haven't dealt with many this year at all. Have you? Cheryl?
I had more people posted out this year than in. We're usually quite transient here, but we had no postings out the year prior. So any of the ones that I had in were remusters or young people coming out of course, and it was very clear that it was very unaffordable for them. What a lot of people don't realize when they get posted here, if it's only one person that's in the military, the spouse is now unemployed. And so for the most part, unless they've come from a place where they've done well, they're doing it on one income. So that makes it tough for them.
That's really great insight, actually. And I find here a lot of people cobble businesses together. So they don't work just one job. They tend to work a number. It's not like you're in Toronto and you can be like a nail technician and, you know, run your own business. Here you be a nail technician in one place and maybe like a decluttering specialist in another. It's just the way we have to work here, I find. It's often not the job that is the problem, it's the housing. So John, what about you for military moves?
Yeah, so military are finding it very hard coming to Comox Valley. I've even heard of some military people not even taking the postings because they can't find a place to live. And if they can find a place to live, it's above their means. So all the PMQs, all the barracks, everything is full. I hear some military members, unfortunately, are living out of their cars here, waiting to find something to live. I just recently relocated a young lady from Quebec that's been searching for a year. She's been out a couple of times. We finally found her a place. It is a new build. She's not in for a couple of months, but in the meantime, she's sharing one room with 4 other ladies.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is hard. It is hard. So don't know if it's going to get any better next year for them. So.
Well, I'm finding a lot of people here moving to Victoria. I forgot to introduce myself really at the beginning.
Hey, Jane.
With Remax Kamloops here in Victoria. But I do find that a lot of them are coming from the mainland, Alberta and Ontario, and specifically they're moving here for lifestyle. They want to be in a more outdoorsy type of place, and they consider it more relaxed. And price-wise, they're coming to probably less expensive from where they were going. So there is some money for them to then spend. But I'm just wondering, like, John, you're in primarily kind of a recreational area. Same with you, Ken. Ken, I know that you guys have been affected by the forest fires and stuff. John and Ken, are you finding that your buyers are coming from the States? Are they coming from elsewhere in Canada? Are they moving from the city and making permanent residence in urban areas, rural areas? Ken, you're muted.
Oh, so you want me to talk? Okay. I mean,
there we go. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so I mean, we're getting, because we're dealing with seasonal homes, we do have people leaving the city, and they're coming up here to spend the summers here. But a lot of that, what we call year round, is not 12 months. They'll be here from, let's say, the 1st of May until about now. Then they go to Florida, Arizona, and of course they haven't been able to go down south. So one of my agents actually just left for Florida today because he's got a house in Florida, which he rents out, and he's got to get it ready to go. So he's going down just to open it, and he stays down there all of February. So we don't get a lot of people who have retired permanently and they're here for 12 months. As far as the sellers go, I mean, a lot of the people have owned their waterfront properties for 30 years, 40 years, and now they're retiring. They want to travel. So it's not quite the same issue. I mean, we're already talking about, if you sell something, that's great. You get a great price, but then you've got to buy something else. Most of the people here, it's a second property. They hit the lottery. They get a crazy, insane price, and then they can travel with it or do something else. So it's not, the dynamics aren't working quite the same as it does if you're just strictly residential. So it's a unique market for sure.
Yeah. And Ken, are you finding people are buying recreational properties where you are too?
Yeah, they are. There's in migration into the area out of the lower mainland, lots of people from the Fraser Valley, and not necessarily right from Vancouver, but lots of Fraser Valley people heading up this way. And some of them are cashing out and buying a sort of a decent principal residence, at least equal to what they had at the coast, and they'll have a little bit of money left over to make a down payment on a recreational property too.
We find here we get a lot of people buying recreational, and we actually have that tax imposed. So it's 5% tax? I can't remember. For secondary homes, and so you have to go outside the core of Victoria to what's called the CRD area. So that would be Souk and parts of Souk and East Souk and Shawnigan Lake. So what it's done is people who are looking for second homes, now they have to, as it is an investment property, they have to buy outside the core, and they have to be able to rent it for more than 6 months, so that they don't get charged a vacancy tax.
Yeah.
So, but I find people who have money, right? So what's going on with the average price in your area, Carol?
Well, the average selling price October 2020 was 968,535, and now in 21 it's 1,155,345. So it's up by 19.3%. But now there's certain areas like towards the east where I guess people are sort of, we're still dealing with 20 and 30 offers on some of the properties. And of course, it's right in that first time buyer. For a lot of them, that's 700, 800. They're having to put in a lot of offers, and people are getting to the point where they're saying they'll drive. Now it used to be an hour outside of the city or the GTA. Now they're saying we'll go 2 hours. And so there's people, and now yesterday, I guess the premier just passed that the Bradford Bypass. So because people from Parry were taking to go through Bradford to get into the city, and now they're trying to link our major 401, 404s, 413, like they're trying to link all the highways because so many people have moved outside of the city and are working from home. And I don't see that changing. They did say, again, I think Jeff mentioned about the possibility of an increase to the interest rate, but very minimal. And one of my government people in Ottawa just told me that to be prepared for next year, that the Chinese, especially from Hong Kong, and Indian money from India, there's a lot of, they've opened up, they're going to be immigrating a large amount of people, and a lot of these people have money. So our prices in Toronto are probably going to still go crazy even next year into 2022. As soon as they're bringing it in, and yet our listings are so low, like we're about 7,000 less than October 2020, and yet the prices of, that's probably what's caused a lot of the prices to go up as well, as much as they have. So it's
Carol, can I ask a question? Do you guys have a foreign buyer tax there in Toronto?
They do, and not as much as I know that they're trying to bring in something more, but they do have that. And now, you know, the vacant possession thing, it's sort of that I know they have in BC, is they're speculating it's going to come here as well, because we've had a lot of situations where people are complaining about property sitting vacant rather than rent, and yet rentals are in such high demand that the first-time buyers are paying anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 a month for rent, and easily, you know, if they could get in, and if they don't have parents, like I deal with a lot of engineering thing from South America and from Brazil in particular, and these poor people, they don't have family that they can say, oh, can you send me a deposit of 200,000 or 300,000 so I can get into the market.
Cheryl, are you finding that the people are moving from Toronto to Trenton area, Quinte area?
Well, I would say, oh, sorry.
No, Cheryl? Cheryl?
Oh.
Well, so there used to be a saying that you would hit the 401 and you would drive until you qualified. And we're still seeing that, although now our prices are unaffordable. It's unaffordable for our local incomes. So last October 20, our average price was $488,542. Now it's $643,506. And in 2019, it was only $374,000. And our wages haven't went up that much. So our people here are, if they can, they're moving to New Brunswick.
Yes. I was looking at properties. There's I think it's an Instagram page called like Cheap Properties Canada or something, and there was a house on PEI that was $179,000 in downtown Charlottetown. I was like, okay, that's where I'm going to retire. The cost of living is less expensive there too. So Ken, are you finding people are moving, like has the price gone up, and what's going on in your market there? Are you being influenced by Vancouver buyers pushing the market up?
Yeah, we are. I mean, just, looking quickly, our median price in Kamloops for residential in the past year, same period of time last year, last October was 528. This year it's 690. So that's a pretty big jump in percentage terms. And at the same time, our inventory levels have really dropped over that same period as well. I mean, we're looking at last year at this time, we had 866 residential listings active. This year, same period, we have 585. So that's a pretty big drop. I mean, that's almost 300 drop in that period of time as well. And so you put those things together with an increasing population, and you know what's going to happen. Something's got to give. So
what is your population?
Our population in Kamloops is right in Kamloops, the city of Kamloops, right around 100,000.
Okay, well, ours is 400,000, and we have less than 1,000 listings on the market now.
Yeah.
And our average price, we were hovering around $1 million last year, up and down, and now we're at 1.25. That's average, not median. So median price would be around, I think, around $1 million as well now. Yeah.
See, what we're finding too here is like Kamloops people have been kind of spoiled, and I'll admit to being this way a little bit too, but from a commuting time standpoint, okay? So I chose to live in a golf community about 20, 25 minutes east of Kamloops here, and no big deal, came from the Lower Mainland long time ago. But so people come from the Lower Mainland are sort of pushing prices in some of our more outlying areas too. Like our population in the city here is around 100, but the area population is more like 170. And so people are coming from the Lower Mainland, and you're talking about places like Barrier and Chase, and even, Merritt, Logan Lake, that are sort of typically 40 to 60 minutes drive away. That's no problem, because they're used to that anyways. So they're tending to push prices in those smaller communities too.
Yep. Yeah. When I moved from Toronto, it was an 1.5 hour commute one way. I lived in the West End and I taught in the Northeast End.
Yeah.
And I just considered that normal. So when I moved to Victoria and I live in Metchosin, I'm 20 minutes out. It's considered very far away. It just made me laugh.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I live in this community out here. I do my share of business out here, but I hear a steady stream of, it's too far. It's too bad it's so far out of town. Really? Are you serious? It's 20 minutes of 4-lane divided highway. Get over it.
Yeah.
How about Laura June, and then Jeff, why don't you talk about Greater Vancouver? Laura June?
Oh, well, I think I don't even know what there is to say anymore. It's very unusual because it's also very neighborhood specific. So, but I do think, again, that house that was 1.1 last year is now over 1.5. Depending on what neighborhood you're looking in, again, an average family, and I mean, speaking to income to housing, like, no, certainly our incomes have not all gone up 50% like some neighborhoods have. So it is definitely a bit of a problem, and a lot of people are cashing out. Like I said, my clients, I know one, Ken's working with somebody with me right now up in Kamloops. Same, this is what's happening. People are cashing out. And of course, 2,000-3,000 people try moving into Surrey every month. And yet we don't have that inventory. That is the story. What's going to happen, who knows? But we all know the biggest disruptor, which is the government, is going to step in with some sort of a regulation. So who knows what's going to happen next year with all this. But it is pretty crazy and out of control.
Okay. Ken and then Jeff.
Yeah, I was away for a bit there, so somebody may have said this already, but I think all of us probably are experiencing a problem with getting projects approved too. Part of the thing that's contributing to the shortage of inventory big time is getting through regulatory approval and getting through to the building permit stage. It's just outrageous how long it takes. And they say, oh, we're overworked and we're understaffed. Yeah, but you're going really slow too. And every squeaky wheel that says, I don't want any more new houses in the neighborhood that I moved into, and it was just fine for me to move here, but now I don't want anybody else here, they get listened to and they get a public hearing and a public forum. And it makes things really slow to get things even out of the starting gate.
We call those NIMBYs.
Absolutely. I call them bananas.
That's true everywhere. Ken, that's true
I call them bananas. It's build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything.
Okay, Jeff, and then John.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that point with Ken, just to give you an idea here in the city of Vancouver. If you buy yourself a property, get the plans all drafted up, put them in the city, they will not be looked at for at least 3 years. 3 years before they're even looked at.
Nice.
Now, we can get you over to Richmond, probably get them looked at in about 6 months, just across the bridge.
Yes.
And is it true that the city of Vancouver is going to make single family zoning no more? Like there won't be any more single family zoning?
Well, you can't build a big house anymore. So like if you wanted to build a big house, that will be absolutely, it has to be a duplex or a triplex.
Yeah.
So if you want a bigger home, and I think that's where you're seeing stuff go out to the valley or further. And I think that really touches on Ken and Lori here. What's happening here is, and I think Ken, you sort of mentioned this last time we had a meeting where they all seem to be playing leapfrog right now. So people that are coming from Vancouver, well, they're going to the valley, and the people from the valley, they're going to the loops, right? And so on and so forth. So as you say, filling up some of those smaller towns and gaps is just a natural thing that's going to happen because, affordability. So now to give you an idea here in Vancouver, benchmark prices, where we sit right now. So for all properties, everything, we sit at $1.2 million. Single family home, 1.85.
Wow.
Entry level, 1.85. Townhome, 975. Condo, 746. So we're looking at about a 15% increase that we had over last year. Now, I know they're saying that, yes, we're down a little bit in sales and volume. Yeah, we're down 5% from this time last year, but we're still 22% over the 10-year average. Having said that, we're actually down 27% in listings from this time last year. So put that all together, we're on fire.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, there's a few other numbers and figures I could throw out there, but I think that sort of generalizes what's going on here.
I think one of the things that sellers or the general public thinks is that we are in control of the pricing, but we're not, and I have a seller right now who's listed maybe a bit high. And an agent came in, he's very frustrated because he can't get the offer through. And he's offering low. And I said, he goes, it's higher than market value. I said, you know what market value is? It's not a number you and I decide. It's the balance between what a seller wants to let it go to and what a buyer wants to pay. And they're just going to wait it out and get their price. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But it's not the best marketing strategy. I'm used to, like, if you want me to sell your house, I'm going to sell your house. But some people want to keep their price and they figure those buyers are going to come from elsewhere as well. Carol, to your point about people moving from China, I've just read an article this morning about how restricted travel is from China. So I can just imagine, same with you, John, people, pent up demand, right? Pent up demand for travel. That's going to, I think, be the next flashpoint.
Well, they're also, sorry, Jane, I was just going to mention, even new construction wise, because of the huge, they're being delayed so much on the projects because they can't get the supplies. And so one person can't do this in the kitchen because they're waiting on something else. This is going to continue. And unfortunately, a lot of people change careers. And so now I'm hearing from different builders that they can't get quality trades people. They're finding that a lot of it's shoddy workmanship. They're having to have everybody double check because of the work. I mean, brand new condo that one of Stephen's clients that I put into at $780,000 for a little 800 square foot condo. And the it's called thermal foil cabinetry is already a year old, and it's already starting to, and it's to do with the manufacturer installer not being trained. The guy was doing something else before he went into, all of a sudden now he's gone into kitchen cabinetry. And I don't know where that's going to lead, but I know that a lot of the new building sites are having issues. And so I don't know how long it will be delayed before they're registered. So a lot of investors are concerned as well, especially the ones that like to flip within, maybe tie up their money only for 2 or 3 years.
Well, that kind of speaks to the supply chain. And just so you know, Jeff, what's happened here in Greater Victoria is one city has actually stolen the developer processor from one municipality to the other because they want to speed things up, and they've actually succeeded. So Langford lost the person who deals with all the developers, and they were taken up by Colwood. So Colwood is now on fire here in Victoria. Okay, so what are our predictions, John? What are your predictions for the upcoming year? We're looking here at possibly a change in provincial legislation around a cooling off period for a week after offers come in, which I think is totally freaking ludicrous. I don't think it's going to change anything. But other than that, what do you think is going to happen if interest rates go up?
Which John are you talking to?
Oh, sorry, John Sheehan.
Hey.
And then we can talk to you, John.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think, like, for here in Comox Valley, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I overheard something yesterday. We had a office meeting, and I heard someone talking with a builder, and he was saying that for 2022, this is one of the main builders in town. He was saying that for 2022, there is no concrete pre-ordered, meaning that he doesn't have any builds to do next year because we're running out of the building lots. They can't, we're surrounded by ALR land and older farms and stuff like that. But yeah, the builders are actually running out of lots. So there's not going to be too much new inventory going on in Comox Valley next year. That being said, our council, the city council, they are on board. They're not slow. They're pretty quick. They know that there's a need for housing, and they're doing what they can. I know in my area where I live in East Courtney, Valley View, they're thinking of changing the zoning from single family zoning to allow suites. And they said that's coming within the year. But then again, they said that last year. So, but just to touch on the market as well, because I found it very interesting. The BIREV report, the Vancouver Island Real Estate Board came out with a report for my area, Comox Valley, that our housing value went up 31% over last year.
Wow.
So typical single family home last year, you can pick one up from, Courtney, Comox, Cumberland, $664 last year. Today, $872. Yeah. And yeah, I know, Ken, I know we're all shaking our heads. Right? We used to have the people cashing out from Vancouver, Fraser Valley, and coming over to Vancouver Island to buy a house. But I think we haven't seen too many people cashing out and coming over, getting the cash out deal, because our prices are almost as high as the mainland. So I still get calls saying, hey, we'd like a house for $300,000. And yeah, so would I. But and then also we're getting a lot. I know, Jane, earlier you were saying, where are the buyers coming from lately? And I'm sorry to tell you this, Ken. They're coming from the Okanagan.
Oh yeah.
Because of the fires that were going on, and people now used to be like people were getting out of the Vancouver Fraser Valley and either going to the island or they're going up to the Okanagan. We're finding a lot of calls weekly here are from the Okanagan looking to get onto the island. So
I have a significant number of clients that I've been working with this year. It's a sort of a new phenomenon, maybe to do with COVID or something, but they're chasing grandkids. People are moving to where the grandkids are.
Yeah.
That's always been the case, though, I think.
Yeah.
So John Sallinen, what's going on with your market? What's your prediction?
Well, our prediction is if we can get inventory, we'll have another good year. But I mean, we really have nothing. I mean, and it's been, I don't know, probably the high prices in Toronto have driven it. I mean, we had, we get stuff like, I mean, this is just, I'll tell you a story that happened last week. We listed a 650 square foot cottage. It was year round on a nice lot. We listed it for $699. I sold the property 2 over from it for $475 16 months ago. So we listed it for $699. We had 27 offers. Agent drove up from Toronto, wrote a cash offer for 1.8 or 1,080,000. And we're going like, and I actually had one of the offers, and I said, well, you know what, if you want to get it, you know, I know it's listed for about 700, maybe offer 810 and you'll get it. We were just blown out of the water by $300,000. And you go, oh, that's just nuts. And I mean, some of you, do any of you know Mark Rattan?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Mark owned the property next door to this one, and he sold it last year, and helped them buy it and stuff. And so anyway, his was on a point, had a bigger cottage, had a bunkie garage. He sold it for $600,000.
Oh wow!
So I told Mark, I said, you know, the neighbor's property sold for this. He says, oh my God, I probably could have got 1.3. I said, maybe you could have. But people are paying so much for cottages, and I think it's pandemic driven because they think they can work from there. But when they go through a winter here with frozen pipes, they can't get out, they're snowed in, that's going to change. And I think some of the dynamics are going to change because the companies are wanting people to come back to their bricks and mortar buildings. Yep. So they won't be able to work remotely. So maybe we'll get, so maybe we'll get more inventory. I mean, that's what we're hoping for. But I mean, I'm kind of following your cooling off thing because I think it's in their wisdom, I think it's a totally stupid idea because I see all kinds of, but I've already talked to some agents, and they said, well, they can envision a scenario where somebody says, well, we like these 3. Let's get accepted offers on 3 properties. We've got a week to walk away from 2 of them. Right. So meanwhile, you've got the seller sitting there. The seller says, have we sold it or not? We don't know if we've sold it. And you can keep making offers. Bought something else. Oh, I mean, it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. But
so I think what'll happen is you'll start getting sellers asking for non-refundable deposits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, that's one way to deal with it. That's one
way to mitigate people doing that.
But I mean, the government looks at it and said, okay, we're going to help the market. Well, no, you're trying to help half the market. You're trying to help the buyers. What about the sellers? They're the other half of the market. And they also vote, by the way. So, you know, I don't know.
Well, it seems like there's a progression, you know, for density and then rules. Like we're moving from single family homes to multi-family dwellings, and we're moving to increased densification in urban cores. And we're also seeing people willing to drive further out. Like it's just a whole change in lifestyle. I do agree though, we're going to see, we've seen people move out. We'll see people move back in. I think that's just normal as they get accustomed.
But Carol, did you see the thing on the news where they said that the new builds, they do new condos, and they've got to allocate 20% or something of a luxury condo building to affordable housing?
Yes, I was
going to bring that kind up. Of an interesting concept. I don't know how that's going to fly either, but
no.
Well, I am on the board for Habitat for Humanity in Victoria, and we're always trying to be that group that gets the affordable housing, and we're not there yet, but it's going to happen. And we can help people get approvals through the municipality by having that. So that's where we're trying to get in that way. Mm-hmm. Cheryl, so we haven't heard from you in a little bit. What are your predictions for this upcoming year in your market?
Well, the only thing that's going to solve it is more inventory. That's the only thing, and it's not. We're surrounded by A1 and A2 agricultural land, which takes a zoning from the official plan to be changed to get anything done. But even so, our builders, we don't have any more of them, and they're building as fast as they can. So inventory is the only thing that's going to help. The interest rates are going to slow things down a little bit, but I think the second quarter they're looking at that there's going to be an increase, and that's going to slow things down, but it's not going to slow down the demand too terribly much. Yeah. Our prices, like I had a young couple that blended, and so they outgrew the home that he had originally bought. So we stretched their budget so hard in February, and they moved in a house, and they paid $440 for it, which is a small fortune here, and they were going to live there forever. They're both military. Didn't she get a posting message 2 months later? And so now they're going to Nova Scotia, and there is no, they're going, right? They're going. So they've been in their house for 2 months. They hadn't really unpacked. They painted the living room and putting a railing in the landing in the garage. We put it back on the market for $580 2 months later, and it sold in multiple offers, and they got $610.
Good for them.
Like, just, that's what's happening here. There's no rhyme, no reason. So it's the inventory that is the only thing that's going to help us. And I think we're going to just chug along. Our young people are not going to be living in those basements of their parents' house. And the people can afford to it. Unfortunately, they're coming from outside the area or buying things up.
Awesome. Okay, Laura June, prediction.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I've been dealing with this in the last couple weeks. I've had a few buyers come on in, and we've been successful with new construction coming up, being done in, you know, completions 2023. So what I have is young people who are thinking forward, actually two different single individuals who, one of them bought a 3-bedroom condo, beautiful, on the 36th floor. He's not thinking today for himself, but he's thinking, you know, 5 years down the road with a partner, maybe with, you know, kids on the way, that sort of a thing. So really that preparing and planning and thinking ahead of time and getting in now, securing it now, because knowing where it's going to be, because yes, things ebb and flow, but we all know even if there was a change and things were to drop, which I don't see really happening, but even if that happened, eventually it always goes back to where it was and surpasses it. So we're seeing a lot of younger people, I think, that's going to be next. People, they're accepting, you know what, I'm not going to have the yard.
Yeah.
So get in now, but get a really good condo, something that's like that house. So that's my prediction. We're going to see more of those investors coming in, and it's going to be super busy. Here we go.
Right. Yeah. Cheryl, what's your prediction?
I'm a little nervous for people. I mean, especially I feel like a senior. So I'm looking at the idea that I don't know how senior or how people can even retire. I'm already figuring I'm gonna do Barry Lebo's comp. They're gonna find me at an open house or something, because I don't think I can retire, just because of the way that just to live. Some of the stuff is like, as you say, nothing's going really up, and everything you turn around, everything you do is costing more, and yet I just feel sorry for a lot of the young couples that I speak to, because they can't even get into the market. And the rents they're paying is going to end up, like, as they said, how can we save money? Everything's going towards just existing. And I don't know, like one of my clients bought 2 hours outside of Toronto down at Port Rowan, which is down by Fort Erie. And the only reason I think she was able to find a beautiful bungalow for $500,000 is because they're not part of the Toronto MLS board. So nobody knows about them yet. So it's kind of like the top secret of moving them to that area. So even in Florida, where my place is in Florida, I'm even noticing that there's speculation about prices increasing in our gated golf communities, and even with stuff down there. And yeah, I don't know where they think the money's coming from for people to continue, especially senior communities.
I notice a lot of realtors are buying properties. And so I'm getting inquiries from realtors outside of Victoria about that. Jeff, what are you finding here? What's your prediction?
I think I'm singing to the choir. It's basically the same thing that we're seeing here. I mean, as far as the interest rates potentially going up, is that going to affect the market? I'm going to say a hard no to that, because, you know, that's really not going to be, well, it's not going to shoot up that much that it's actually going to make that much of a difference. But I agree with you, Carol. You know, like I have two young daughters. In fact, one of them was in Victoria last week checking out UVic, starting university next year. I'm terrified for them. I have no idea where they're going to live. You know, sure, Dad does okay in real estate, but he doesn't do that well to be able to say, hey, you know, I'm going to be able to help you out with your first property, where maybe some of the younger generations were able to get helped. But where do I see it going? It's going to be busy. We're still going to be busy. Again, it's supply and demand. That's what real estate is. And we don't have the supply, but yet we have more and more demand that's coming. Carol, I know you touched on the fact of potentially China and especially Hong Kong. Hong Kong with all the changes and everything else happening. I know there's a ton of people that want to come back to Vancouver. And for us here, it's actually a 15% foreign buyer tax. They don't care. That's it.
Yeah.
If that's the price I have to pay to get there, I will pay it, because a lot of those folks do have the money. But what does that do for our market here? What does that do for our kids? What does that do for the postman, the fireman, and everything else? You know, Jane, this morning, it was on Global News where they were talking about your Victoria Police Department was offering a $20,000 signing bonus to have police officers come live in the Victoria area. And their biggest concern was, where are we going to live? You know, and that was, you know, of course, that's Victoria. Would we have the same problem here? Absolutely, we have the same problem here.
Well, we're going to move to your, I think, like suites came in the last decade in different municipalities. That was a big one. And now I'm going to see, we're seeing infill happening in Esquimalt and other municipalities, Saanich. And then soon we're going to, I think we're going to move away from single family dwellings. So I see what's happening. It's interesting to me. I see the progression from a small town, Victoria, now to a big municipality. We still have 13 small municipalities like Toronto used to, and we're going to amalgamate. It's just going to happen.
Right.
Okay, well,
lead into each other, so to speak. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Have you enjoyed this conversation?
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. Hopefully we'll be able to do it next quarter. I'm thinking in February or March, and keep it up. I find that it gives us good perspective of people who are going to be moving between communities for sure. You want to tell us, first of all, how do people get in touch with you? Let's start with you, Carol. Name and number and website.
Okay, Carol Bass, and it's carolbass.com. And my email is thewomanonthemove@gmail.com. Phone number 416-520-9489.
Okay, Ken.
There we go. Ken McClelland and Kamloops. My website is kenandkamloops.com. Telephone number is 250-371-1499. Email is kpmac, kpmac @shaw.ca. Real easy.
Okay, Jeff.
Sure. So it's Jeff Parlee here, Remax Real Estate Services in Vancouver. Main website is vancouverhomeclick.com. There's also Jeff at jeffparlee or jeffparlee.com. Email is just jeff@jeffparlee.com. Super simple. Direct line for me is 604-787-5428.
Okay, Laura June.
It's laurajunerealestate.com is my website. You can reach me. Easiest is my cell, 604-351-8977, or email me at laurajune@remax.net.
Okay, John Sallinen.
Well, you can go to Facebook is the easiest way, but anyway, my phone number is 416-258-5871. My website is soldonparrysound.com, all together, no spaces or hyphens. And what else? That's it. That's probably all you need.
Okay, John Sheehan.
It's John at islandliving.homes. My phone number is 778-992-2722. And my website is islandliving.homes.
Okay, Cheryl.
It's CherylCarrier.com, Cheryl at remaxquinty.com, And my number is 613-242-9139. I just had a thought, Carol, when you said the prices go down, but they just come back. It's like a diet. It's like a diet. You may lose it, but it's going to come back plus a little bit more.
That's true. Good point.
Okay, and you can reach me. My name is Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at gmail.com. My email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. You can reach me at 250-744-0775. And I have two websites. One's briarhillgroup.com, and the other one is vancouverislandtime.com, where we talk about lifestyle and what it's like to live on Vancouver Island. So thank you, everybody. We hope to see you in the new year. And thanks, everybody, for joining me today. I really appreciated, obviously, getting to know your market, but also getting to know you better. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yep.